Did you know The Devil Wears Prada did more than just give us unforgettable performances from Emily Blunt and Stanley Tucci? It actually turned them into real family. Yes, seriously. What began as a friendship after the 2006 movie later became much more when Stanley married Emily's sister Felicity 6 years later. And now, almost 20 years later, the story has become even sweeter. While filming the sequel in Italy, Emily and Stanley weren't simply reuniting as co-stars. They were there with their whole families, including Emily's husband, John Krasinski, their kids, Stanley's wife, Felicity, and their children. What started as time together on a movie set eventually turned into genuine family vacations together.
What was the family's reaction when you guys found out that you were going to be doing the sequel? What was John's reaction? He's always such a great supporter of your work.
He loves it.
Yeah.
Because he loves this one. And he's a massive fan of the first movie.
Emily and John children were also spending time with their cousins. According to Stanley, the children share a very close bond.
Kids are the same age for the most
Best
part, and
friends.
they're best friends. And so we spend a lot of time together over.
But if you're imagining some peaceful and glamorous trip through Italy, think again. Stanley shared that while the adults were busy cooking food and mixing drinks, the kids were running around causing chaos in the background. Emily even joked that they barely saw the children because they had become completely wild. Honestly, that kind of madness happens on almost every family vacation, and apparently the chaos didn't stop there. Emily laughed that she and Stanley barely shared scenes in The Devil Wears Prada 2 because the filmmakers probably wanted to keep the troublemakers separated. She also said, "We laugh way too much. We know each other too well. At this point, we're basically over-related." And honestly, that perfectly sums up this surprisingly close Hollywood family. But how did Stanley end up falling for Emily's sister in the first place? Here's how it all happened. Stanley and Felicity's relationship is really a story about finding happiness again after heartbreak. When Stanley first met Emily Blunt, he was still married to his first wife, Kate, and his family was going through an incredibly painful period. Kate had been diagnosed with breast cancer just before Stanley began filming The Devil Wears Prada. While he worked on the movie, she continued her treatment and later joined him at the film's premiere. During the red carpet event for The Devil Wears Prada, Stanley and Kate met Emily Blunt and her sister, Felicity. That's when Emily and I became friends. And interestingly, Felicity met my wife Kate that same night, Stanley later recalled in 2021. They spoke together at the premiere, and I still have a picture of them. Sadly, Kate passed away in 2009, 3 years after the film came out. "We did everything possible to save her," Tucci told The Guardian. "I just wish I could have done more and been there when she passed away." Stanley and Felicity crossed paths again 4 years after that premiere, at Emily's wedding in 2010, 1 year after Kate's death. That's when they realized how much they had in common. Felicity had already built a successful career in publishing. Since 2005, she had worked as a literary agent at Curtis Brown, representing writers and helping bring new stories to life. She especially loved fiction and enjoyed discovering original voices and unique ideas. "My taste in fiction is very broad, but I'm always drawn to unique stories and intelligent voices," she explained.
Best feeling is when you read something and it is wonderful, and the adrenaline rush is it's just lovely. I really love my job, and it's that bit that's the best of all.
Felicity left a lasting impression on Stanley because of how much she genuinely loved food. He once admitted he had never seen someone so slim enjoy eating with such enthusiasm.
We realized we love food. We both love food. I met her at her sister's wedding, and we started dating when I started working in London. And then when I would come to visit her, we'd always go out to restaurants and we would cook together.
That weekend, Stanley and Felicity bonded over their shared love of food and later arranged to meet again in London, where she lived and where he was heading for work. The first time we went out, we ate at a small restaurant with food that honestly wasn't very good, but we had a wonderful time together, Stanley recalled. The two friends later visited another restaurant and ended up sitting there for nearly 4 hours. By the end of the meal, Stanley was completely full, but Felicity still wanted to look at the cheese cart. "I remember thinking that was amazing," he said. Years later, that same restaurant became the place where they held their wedding reception.
And we started eating out together a lot. And then she came and stayed with me in America, and we started cooking together, and it's great.
Their time together slowly turned into more dinner dates and, eventually, a real relationship. Stanley later admitted that after proposing to Felicity in Berlin in November 2011, he immediately felt guilty because everything still felt too soon after losing Kate. "I panicked right away," he said, explaining that even going on trips with Felicity was emotionally difficult at first. Still, Stanley knew deep down that Kate would have wanted him to find happiness again.
You never stop grieving. And it's still hard after 11 years. Still hard. And it will always be hard. But you can't let it, and she would never want any of us to to wallow in that grief and let it take over our lives. She would never want that. She wasn't like that.
Thankfully, Stanley didn't let fear stop him from loving again. In 2012, he and Felicity secretly got married before later celebrating with a formal wedding in London, where Emily was a bridesmaid.
They are a culinary super couple. I feel like she's taught him a lot of stuff as well.
Today, Stanley says he feels very grateful he chose a life with Felicity. "It's not easy to find someone willing to take on 3 teenagers and a widower," he said. But she did. She treats the kids like her own, and being a step-parent is never easy. A few years after their marriage, the couple also welcomed children together. Later, during the COVID-19 lockdown, Stanley spoke about quarantining with his large family, saying they felt lucky to have each other, a home, and enough food.
It's really sad, but things are getting better. The vaccination is being rolled out brilliantly.
The actor has a deeper appreciation for life, partly because of his own struggles and what his first wife went through. Around 8 years ago, he experienced severe jaw pain and was diagnosed in London with a large tumor at the base of his tongue. He underwent high-dose radiation and chemotherapy, something he had once sworn never to face again after watching his first wife suffer through cancer treatment for years.
It was bad. It was much worse than I thought.
Yeah.
The cancer had not metastasized, which was a good thing, but the tumor was so large it was inoperable. So they had to do high-dose radiation, which destroys your taste buds, your saliva, your everything.
The side effects were very hard. He developed mouth ulcers, strong nausea, and even the smell of food became unbearable. He was on heavy morphine, could barely drink water, and needed a feeding tube for 6 months, missing important family moments like his twins' graduation. Throughout it all, Felicity and the children supported him, and visits from his friend Colin Firth helped him cope. Thankfully, the treatment worked, and the cancer is unlikely to return. Stanley later said the experience changed him, making him both more fearful and more determined to live fully, and he realized how deeply food is tied to his life. He and Felicity now share that passion through cooking, social media, and even a cookbook filled with family recipes and memories.